complicated affair. Fallen riders had brought the race to a halt twice, and a completely new race was started over just 10 laps with adjusted grid positions. Neil Mackenzie made the most of his front row grid position to take an early lead from Terry Reimer, super quick starting David Jeffries on the Honda RC45, and Jamie Whittam. Lap 2 and Mackenzie couldn't hang on to his lead as teammate Whittam outbraked him into Park Corner, and in doing so set up the battle of the race. As the Yamaha duo fought it out for the lead with some breathtaking action on the spectacular Lincolnshire circuit, rain started to fall. Ray Stringer and Jim Moody were just two of the riders who signalled to officials for the race to be stopped, as they felt the track conditions were becoming too dangerous. And indeed the race was stopped with just 5 laps gone, much to the dismay of David Jeffries, who in 4th felt he could have finished higher. The victory though went to Jamie Whittam, his 6th win of the series so far. There we have confirmation of the result. Jamie Whittam, Neil Mackenzie, Steve Hislop who got the fastest lap, and a very good finish there for David Jeffries, his best of the season so far. Matt Llewellyn 5th, Jim Moody 6th, Ray Stringer 7th, and Dean Ashton 8th.
Round 14 and Mother Nature has thrown a spanner in the works again, leaving half the track very wet and the other half drying rapidly. This of course poses a huge dilemma in terms of tyre choice for the riders, not least of all pole position man Steve Hislop, enjoying his first pole incidentally for over a year. Jim Moody out for the first time on the ex-Paul Denning GSXR 750 Suzuki, having quit Colin Seeley's Ducati team after the Knock Hill round. He's put that Suzuki on the 2nd row. A real mixture of tyre choices on the grid because of the uncertain conditions. Mackenzie is running slicks front and rear. Jamie Whittam has a cut slick on the front and a slick on the rear. Terry Reimer has gone for intermediate tyres both front and rear. Matt Llewellyn languishing on the 2nd row, Reimer's teammate on the other Ducati. Stringer and Jim Moody, as I say, on the Suzuki. That's a very creditable performance for Jim Moody, and the Suzuki team delighted with that. Unusual to see Michael Rutter there on the 3rd row. David Jeffries, after that blistering 4th place in the first encounter here today, he too is on the 3rd row. Look for the lights, top right-hand side of your screen. They will go from red to green, and we have 18 laps ahead of us on this 2.17 mile, very, very difficult Cadwell Park circuit, splashing through the puddles for the first time as they go into the left-hander at Coppice. And it's Jamie Whittam, number 3, hitting the front. Hislop, though, has taken advantage of pole position. A slight apology from Terry Reimer. The rider in red lifted his hand as he dived underneath Neil Mackenzie. Mackenzie, of course, will be treading very carefully on those slick tyres, but this is the part of the circuit where there is a very good dry area up to the right-hander at Park. In 2nd place, Hislop running a little bit wide. That allowed Terry Reimer, number 7, to close and almost get him. If he'd gone underneath Hislop, then it might have been a different story and we would have had Reimer in 2nd place, but he is there in 3rd. Hislop and Reimer then, as they are fighting, they're allowing James Whittam, number 3, to extend his lead. This the battle for 2nd place. Roger, as we get into the woodland section where the trees cover the circuit, we're looking now at the bottom of the mountain. Reimer goes through. It's going to be very wet and difficult here.
Well, I don't envy the riders having to make the tyre decision that they've made, because they've got to live with it now for 18 laps. Terry Reimer comes through here, this difficult part of the circuit, with intermediates back and front. There's Mackenzie down with slicks back and front, so obviously the slick tyres are not performing too well on these early laps, as we see Reimer and Steve Hislop there entering Barn Corner, and through there. And where's Jamie Whittam? There he is, look, he's already pulled quite a lead.
Mackenzie appearing to hold up the traffic behind him, but it's 10 years since Neil Mackenzie rode at this Cadwell Park circuit. I repeat myself, he is on slick tyres, and the last time he was here 10 years ago, he fell off the 250 Armstrong and broke his leg, so maybe that is in the back of his mind as well, but he's certainly treading very carefully. Michael Rutter, number 4, has gone through, as indeed has number 22, Ian Simpson, both riding Ducatis. Rutter on the big 995cc Ducati, which is extremely quick and every bit a match for the ex-factory World Superbike Yamahas, as written by number 30 Neil Mackenzie and race leader number 3 Jamie Whittam. Ian Simpson, number 22, the only rider remaining in Colin Seeley's Ducati team, is having a serious look to get past Michael Rutter, number 4, if he can, but he's having to settle again behind the Starbridge rider. Michael Rutter, 23 years of age, a former Super Team champion in his time, and he's brought that talent and that experience with him into Superbike, and he really is a star of the future, if not already has a real chance of moving into 3rd place in the championship after this Cadwell Park round. But he's certainly got to keep Ian Simpson, number 22, behind him. Jim Moody, Simpson's former teammate, now running down in 12th place on the ex-Paul Denning Suzuki, with clearly a massive job ahead of him, Roger.
Absolutely, but Michael Rutter now going through Barn Corner, and it's going to be interesting to see how the slick tyres on Mackenzie's bike start to work as the track starts to dry. But Cadwell Park's a very difficult circuit for the riders. It's very narrow and also very quick. This corner here's 5th gear, that's 140 miles an hour through there. Back 1 gear to 3rd gear for Charlie's Bend, probably 100 miles an hour through here before going on to the Park Straight. Michael Rutter got the power down there very early as Simpson comes up behind him flapping his knees there. Well, I don't know if he's trying to take off or what he's doing there, but that's a bad habit, Barry.
Well, it's a characteristic that Ian Simpson displays. He's urging the Ducati onwards. It's no secret that they've had a problem getting the best out of these new bikes. They arrived sort of mid-season, and they've been developing the Ducatis in Colin Seeley's team as they've been racing them. So clearly, that bike still does not have the edge that Ian Simpson needs, and that's why Michael Rutter, number 4, is now getting away from the Dalviti rider. Mackenzie closing on Simpson, so the battle of the stops here. The 34-year-old former Grand Prix rider, championship leader, albeit by a narrow 10-point margin now. Neil Mackenzie knows full well that he can't afford to let Jamie Whittam scorch off into an unassailable lead, and at the very least, Mackenzie has got to pass number 22 Simpson, then number 4 Michael Rutter, reigning champion Steve Hislop in 3rd, and then Terry Reimer before he has a chance to crack at this man, race leader James Whittam, teammate on the Yamaha.
Well, James Whittam now has got quite a commanding lead, and this is back to the fight for 3rd place with Steve Hislop and Michael Rutter as they go round Charlie's Bend. This is on board with Steve Hislop, so this will be interesting. Now down Park Straight, you remember what I said about Cadwell Park being narrow? Look how narrow it is now. Barely wide enough for 3 bikes, 3 abreast, as he goes down the gearbox, down to 2nd gear, and Rutter's coming alongside Hislop, so that's Rutter now into 3rd place. And we saw it then from the on-bike camera, up to 3rd gear through Chris Curve, squeezing the power on very gently through here, not wanting the back end to step out, before going down again 1 gear through the gooseneck. This is very difficult before we plunge down the hill to Mansfield, and I've got to say that actually in reality down there into Mansfield is much, much steeper than it appeared there through the onboard camera. But Mackenzie now right on the back of Simpson, so are we going to see Mackenzie moving up the field as those slick tyres start to work?
The drying track conditions working now to Neil Mackenzie's advantage. He is in 6th place, so Simpson in 5th, about to fall under the Mackenzie hammer, I suspect, but they don't want to tangle. Mackenzie's got to stay out of trouble, shadowing Ian Simpson through the trees, and David Jeffries will not add to his 4th place in round 13 because he's in the straw bales, fit and well, but that RC45 Honda will not go again today at Cadwell. Another retirement. John Ward retires his Ducati, a relatively new name for us here on Grandstand in Motorcycle News British Superbike Racing, but the pace is hotting up. Mackenzie means business. He is still in 6th, and the others are getting away. That ex-factory World Superbike Yamaha, acquired for the 2 riders by team manager Rob McElnay at the end of the 1995 season, is very quick, and Mackenzie and Simpson side by side up to par. That is also where Michael Rutter's Ducati is phenomenally fast, and I think that Neil Mackenzie, number 30, will have something more of a difficult job to do, I think, Roger, to get past Michael Rutter. It won't be quite that easy.
Well, let's not forget that Mackenzie's leading the championship. He's now up into 5th place in this race, and he knows that his teammate is leading, and his teammate is his main rival in the championship, so Mackenzie will not be pleased to be down in 5th place. But he's made the choice of using the slick tyre on the front of his machine, and he's paid the price early in this race, and that's Michael Rutter now, and he's up into third place ahead of Hislop, and I just saw Terry Reimer go through Hall Bends there, so he doesn't look like he's far off second place, Barry.
It's a fine ride by Rutter, but reigning champion Steve Hislop is now coming under increasing pressure from fellow Scot Neil Mackenzie, and coincidentally the ex-John Reynolds World Superbike Kawasaki that Hislop is riding is a machine that he has actually competed against in the 1995 season, because in his Ducati days, as Mackenzie goes past Hislop, Mackenzie goes up yet another place, and ahead of him now is Michael Rutter. We're riding with Hislop, and I was about to say, in Hislop's Ducati days, he competed in a couple of home World Superbike rounds against this very motorcycle that he is now on. So he knows full well its potential. It doesn't seem, however, to be as quick as Mackenzie's Yamaha.
Well, during qualifying it was, and I think that was deceptive, because Mackenzie is running with a rear slick tyre, which is going to give him more grip on the exit of Charlie's Bend onto the straight. Steve Hislop's running with a rear intermediate tyre. That now, by this stage in the race, will start to feel like jelly to the rider under him. The blocks in the tyre will start to move around, and the tyre will start to be torn. So Mackenzie has definitely now, from that shot we've just seen, got a distinct advantage at getting drive out of the corners.
Wow, James Whittam leaping into view over the top of the hill. He's at the hairpin. There is a dry line appearing in even this tree-covered part of the circuit now. That will certainly work to Mackenzie's advantage, but Whittam has a huge cushion now. The margin, something in the region of 13 seconds. Jim Moody, number 21, following Ray Stringer, number 17, on the privately entered Kawasaki. But Moody now in 11th place. The man ahead of him, Stringer, clearly in 10th, and ahead of him, it's Andy Hatton, number 11, having a particularly good ride. Andy Hatton on the Ducati. These conditions a little bit slippery, particularly suited to the power delivery of the twin-cylinder Ducati. Having said that, there is a four-cylinder machine in the lead and a four-cylinder machine in fourth place, but Ducatis are second and third. Stringer then, holding off Jim Moody to, oh dear me, over and over. Oh goodness me, that rider was very lucky, and as yet it looked, yes, Jim Hodson off the Kawasaki in spectacular style, and he was very lucky not to be collected by an awful lot of hardware. Over and over goes the motorcycle. That is a very broken and very second-hand bike, and I don't think that one, Roger's going to make the track again today.
Well, he was exceptionally lucky that the bike didn't hit him, to be honest. I don't think we'd have seen him getting up, but Jim Hodson looked perfectly all right there. I'm pleased to say, as we see Michael Rutter now challenging Reimer, and this is for second place, so Michael Rutter has come right up and caught Terry Reimer. Let's not forget there's Jamie Whittam ahead of these two, but this is the battle for second place. Reimer looks to be holding off Rutter at the moment, but I do know that Terry Reimer is fitted with intermediates back and front, and that's not going to help his cause.
Not only is Michael Rutter's Ducati very, very quick, but he's also being very brave, playing hard at the back of Terry Reimer and through on the inside. Reimer trying to fight back, but the door is closed. Rutter has firmly established himself, and look how he shot away then, albeit, I think, on the brakes, but certainly now he's opened up a cushion between himself and similarly mounted, formerly third place in the championship, Terry Reimer. What is important now is that Rutter, with 9th in round 13, has now not only moved ahead of Reimer in the race, but also has moved into third place in the championship if things stay the way they are at the end of this race. And a celebration wheelie from Michael Rutter as he goes into Hall Bends. This is the best race so far this season for Michael Rutter. He's never had a second place. He's had a couple of thirds. Mackenzie now is closing on the back of Terry Reimer. Mackenzie, number 30, in fourth place. And I think we are going to have a battle now between the Yamaha of Neil Mackenzie and the Ducati of Terry Reimer. It will be very interesting to see which of those motorcycles is the faster. And I've got my answer, because it's Neil Mackenzie going through and Terry Reimer fighting back. But he's on the outside line and he does it. Reimer, a very brave move. He's not going to give that third place up easily.
Oh, that was absolutely fantastic, but you can see Mackenzie coming back as they top 150 miles per hour as they go down Park Straight there. And into Park Corner, Mackenzie's very, very positive on the brakes, and that's coming from the feeling that he's getting from the slick front tyre. So really, it's all over as far as everybody else is concerned, I think, because Mackenzie's got this second place in the bag.
Well, you say in the bag, he's got to overhaul Michael Rutter. I know Michael Rutter is running on tyres which are no longer compatible with this ever-drying circuit. It's almost totally dry apart from the woodland section. Looking left, looking right, ducking and weaving Neil Mackenzie at the bottom of the mountain. Now the right-hander as they rise over the crest. It'll be a wheelie from Rutter, a wheelie from Mackenzie into Hall Bends. The Ducati front wheel pops up again from the number 4 bike of Rutter, and Mackenzie is hunting him down remorselessly at the hairpin. They are staying close to that very tight dry line. Roger, how difficult is it to stay on a narrow 1 metre wide strip?
Well, it's not difficult to stay on the 1 metre wide strip, but what is difficult is passing the guy that's in front of you who you want to overtake. In this case, it's Michael Rutter. So Mackenzie, to pass him, has got to go off the dry line onto the damp part of the track, which he won't want to do on the woodland part of the circuit. Now, we may see him now as we go round Charlie's Corner onto Park Straight, try and challenge Michael Rutter at the end of this straight, but Mackenzie's winding the power on now, and he's coming alongside Michael Rutter. This will be interesting because we haven't seen a bike that's any faster than Mackenzie's so far in this race, and Mackenzie still not able to pass Rutter there as they approach Park Corner. So Mackenzie said, oh my word, and he's gone underneath Rutter, nearly pushing Michael Rutter out, and Rutter won't be pleased with that at all, and Mackenzie gives him a wave as much to say, well, I am sorry, Michael, but now through the gooseneck, Mackenzie surely on his way to secure second spot now, but I don't think he's going to catch Jamie Whittam.
To take your point, Roger, I think Michael Rutter's Ducati, the John Hackett prepared and tuned Ducati, was every bit as quick as Neil Mackenzie's Yamaha, but Mackenzie is charging hard, and this man, James Whittam, number 3, has been quoted as saying that he is amazed just how hard charging his Yamaha teammate is at the age of 34. James Whittam said, I thought he'd just be coasting through this championship and not taking any chances, but if you cast your minds back to the Thruxton round where Neil Mackenzie charged over the curb in desperation, then everything James Whittam is saying has proven to be correct. The battle of the Scots. Ian Simpson, number 22, reigning champion Steve Hislop on the Kawasaki. Ducati versus Kawasaki battle. Hislop now fighting back. Oh dear me, it's unbelievably close. And he's indicating to Ian Simpson, I'm sure he is saying to Simpson, you have a problem. And Simpson has got the message. He's looking down to see what that problem is. Could be an oil leak. Could be that Hislop was getting oil mist on his visor, but he certainly was in a hurry to get past Ian Simpson and let him know that there was something ailing with the Ducati. On the last lap then, a clear lead by James Whittam, but his teammate Neil Mackenzie now firmly established in second place, and it will bring the championship lead down to just 5 points for Mackenzie with 6 races, 3 events remaining. The crowd already know that James Whittam has his double for the day wrapped up. He's almost doing celebration wheelies on the final lap, and what an outstanding performance yet again from the Huddersfield rider. He really has won the hearts of the crowd, the hearts, I hope, of you, the television audience, and the checkered flag is out. Whittam, after 18 very, very difficult laps of the Cadwell Park circuit, takes the win, and there is the traditional celebration wheelie. Confirmation, Mackenzie then in second place. Whittam got the win, a hard-fought third again for Michael Rutter, relegating Terry Reimer to 4th. Hislop 5th, he'll be pleased with that. Simpson, Dean Ashton, a very creditable 7th place for Ashton, his second good result of the day, and Matt Llewellyn in 8th place.